All right, I want to call this meeting of the Simpson County Fiscal Court to order. I want to ask our road supervisor, Bobby Groves, if he would open us with a word of prayer. We'll follow that with the flag, pledge to the flag. I want to ask, too, that we all today remember former Franklin Mayor Ronnie Clark, the loss of his wife, so let's remember them today, too.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for another day and for the blessings you give us each day, the way you watch over, provide, protect for us. We do want to lift the Clark family to you and ask you to comfort them and be with them this few upcoming days. Lord, we pray for this meeting today, for these men, that they decisions that will be made will be according to your will, that will be the best for our community. And Lord, we pray for not only our community, but our state and our nation, that our leaders will seek you out, look for your guidance, and that things they will do will be according to your will and will benefit our country and our community, Lord. God, we ask you to bless each person here and their families. We thank you for the people that serve our communities and serve our country. And we just ask that what we do would be pleasing to you and would honor you and bring you glory. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. I noticed, other than county employees, we do have a member of our community with us here today. Ron, it's good to have you. Just make sure, do you have public comment? That's okay. I just didn't want to overlook you. All right. We do appreciate you coming. It makes us kind of feel good. It's like we have an audience. We actually have a real audience. But no, you know, we like you being here. We appreciate you coming.
Is that steering committee tomorrow night?
No, it's Thursday the 21st. No. Oh, I know what you're asking about.
That got canceled.
Yes, it got canceled. Okay. Gentlemen, moving into our business at hand, if you had an opportunity to review the minutes of the October 5th regular fiscal court meeting, we need a motion and a second to approve that minutes.
Motion made.
Got a motion by Nate.
Second.
Second by Scott. Any questions or corrections? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, next, gentlemen, is if you had an opportunity to review this, we need a motion and a second to approve first reading of fiscal year 21-22 budget ordinance number 220.233. It's amendment number 3. There's $170,000 of this money is a utility assistance grant that Nicole worked on obtaining. That money will actually flow through community action, but be paid back to utility providers that weren't able to make collections during the COVID. And then I think it's 30 or 31,000 of that is money that the jail brought from the commissary to cover those recent contracts that we approved.
So moved.
I had two at one time. I heard Marty and I heard Myron both, so I'll go Marty made the motion and Myron second. And on the ordinance, we'll have a roll call vote.
Marty Chandler,
Yes.
Myron Thurman,
Yes.
Scott Poston,
Yes.
Nathaniel Downing,
Yes.
Mason Barnes.
Yes. All right, next, gentlemen, we discussed this and had first reading at our last meeting. If you reviewed it again, we need a motion and a second to approve the second reading and final passage of ordinance number 920.118, repealing and reinstating permit and inspection rate schedules for planning and zoning.
So moved.
Got a motion by Myron.
Second.
Second by Scott. Any other question or discussion on that? On a ordinance, we'll have a roll call vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Nathaniel Downing,
Yes.
Marty Chandler,
Yes.
Mason Barnes.
Yes. All right, the next items are a couple of just cleanup items of former action here. First is a corrected jail agreement with Airmark. I think we first talked about it would be 1 year, then the agreement had 60 months. When we signed it and sent it off, they sent it back scribbled through with 36 months. So the one with and they initialed it. If you see on there, they marked through the 60, marked it 36 and initialed it. So, and the reason we're having to clean both of these up is this. We're currently going through an audit, and the way this works is if what we vote to do doesn't match exactly what's in the record of the minutes, they make a note of that in the audit. So we just got to clean it up so that what we actually voted to do is reflected in the minutes. So what we need is a motion and a second to accept the corrected jail agreement with Airmark showing the 36-month time frame. Again, all of the money paid on this will be paid through the commissary.
Motion made.
Got a motion by Nate, second by Marty. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. And then the next one is a corrected jail agreement with Correct Tech Software. This is for, and the reason this is being changed, in our minutes it was presented that we were contracting with EMR, which stands for Emergency Medical Records, correct? But the contract is actually with Correct Tech for EMR. It's the same contract, nothing changed about it, but we just need to make note in the minutes that we're actually entering into a contract with Correct Tech for EMR services.
But Correct Tech was never used. I reviewed the tape.
Right.
EMR was the only time it was,
Right.
a name was referred
So
to.
we've got to have in the minutes reflecting that we actually are contracting with Correct Tech. Got a motion by Scott,
Second.
second by Nate. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next is something that's not being corrected. This is a new one. And I think we've got the information down here correctly, but I'm going to hit all the balls that are thrown at us, even if it's a curveball, to make sure that we get this in the minutes. This one is to review, if you had an opportunity to review a jail agreement with Kaleo Technologies, and this is Kaleo Technologies through Correct Tech. But this is for web hosting for HIPAA requirements at the jail. Now, if there's questions about that, Brent may have to answer those. But again, this will be a contract that you'll have to authorize the county judge to sign, but the money to cover this will be paid out of the commissary.
Well, could you just inform us about this on that?
It's cloud-hosted files, Myron, and it has to be HIPAA approved and HIPAA compliant so that, we're dealing with medical records, so everything's secure, so everything goes to the cloud. It's not stored on site. Gives the doctors access to read those files, and it's basically holding files in
Are
a
they
safe
currently
manner.
doing this now? Are they providing this service now?
No, we have to have it to make the other service work.
Okay,
Okay. And again, that's one we'll pay for.
okay.
So how do they do it now? I mean, is it just
It's
paper?
paper files. It's paper files. In fact, almost every bit of paper that we produce now is medical files.
So once we have this web hosting, will you still have to have the paper files, or will it all be like a cloud-based?
It will all be cloud-based. Any paper files, they'll scan to the cloud and dispose of.
What if something happens with a violation of HIPAA regulations? Will Kaleo Technologies step up to the plate?
Yeah, that's on them. They won't cover us for anything we did, but they'll cover themselves for things they do.
Right.
Is it like a time frame with this company, or is this like from now on? Is it like a certain time period?
I don't have the contract in front of me. I'm sure it's an annual deal, but I think so long as we continue in perpetuity,
Did you review it?
It says it
Councilman?
continues on a month-to-month basis,
Okay.
and you have the right to
I don't
terminate
think I have actually.
anytime upon 30 days written notice by either party.
Yep.
So it's not annual, it's a month-to-month,
It's monthly.
is what it says.
Okay.
I'll move to approve.
All right, so Marty's got a motion to approve it.
Second.
Second by Scott. Any other question or discussion?
Oh, what the length of service is?
Month to month. Any other question, discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries.
Thank you, Brent.
Thank you.
All right, the next one is to review and approve the sheriff's revenue bond. Now, this is a bond that was already in place. It's having to be redone. I can read a little bit of some information here on what's happening. I don't know if the sheriff wants to speak to it. You're more than welcome to. But this was a change being done to the current bond. Let me just read this. KRS 134.230, paragraph 1A requires the sheriff to execute a bond annually to the Commonwealth with one or more sufficient sureties in the minimum sum of $10,000, conditioned on the faithful performance of his or her duties, and to pay over to the proper person and at the proper time all money collected prior to the sheriff collecting taxes for the year in which the bond is executed. As you also know, the APA raised issues earlier this year about the wording of the bonds that have been previously issued, including the bonds written through CAECO for this purpose, since those bonds were arguably limited to the county levy. We have worked with our bonding company, Liberty Mutual, and the APA to come to a consensus on appropriate language to satisfy the statute. So there's a change in the statute. It doesn't change anything about the bond, but there's different wording in the bond, and we have to approve that.
Judge, just keep it short.
Yep.
Sometimes when we read things off, the general public or people will assume
Yep.
something's wrong in Simpson County.
Nothing's wrong.
Sheriff's had his revenue bond as he's required to do by law.
Right.
Across the state, what they have found, not in Simpson County, everywhere, that the wording was not what should be there for that revenue bond. That was brought to light in conjunction with the Sheriff's Association. So they have worked through our insurance companies where we secure these bonds to get the wording the way that they would want it to be. That's all this is. Has nothing to do with me personally or Simpson County. Every sheriff that had a revenue bond through CAECO or any of the companies, it's not even CAECO screw up. Their lawyers have looked at it and got it to what the way it needs to be.
Yeah.
I guess my only question, is this a separate bond from the other bond that we raised up?
And he said that it would be a different bond, so it would need to be approved by fiscal court.
So that
I
other
mean, it's
bond,
the same as far as the money and stuff like that goes. It's just that slight bit of language in there that the auditor wasn't pleased with, and they requested that it be changed.
so on the other bond, we raised it up for these 2 or 3 months. Does
No,
it-
that's different. That's called a rider.
Okay, well, that's what I was asking.
Yeah, that's
So that's-
completely different from this. This is
Okay.
the regular county bond that goes in exception to those months where you all
So-
approve the rider.
So the wording on that rider
Yeah,
is
yeah, it's
okay.
good. It's totally
Okay.
different,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. So moved.
Because it
Alright.
just specifies those specific
So we got a
months
motion, we got a
for that.
motion by Marty to
Second.
approve the language change in the sheriff's revenue bond.
Second.
Second by Nate. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye? You learn, like right now, the state auditors are here, and they're in and out of the office. Thankfully, they're going to talk to Nicole more than they do me. But you find that when the auditor's office wants something done, they typically get it done the way they want it done. And you kind of have to play by the rules that they set. Even though the rules could change and you're not aware that they changed, they still want you to play by those rules. But, so this is, as the sheriff said, nothing at all wrong, just trying to clean up stuff to make the auditors happy. Next, gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to review the budget transfers, we need a motion and a second to approve those transfers.
Motion made.
Motion by Nate,
Second.
Second by Myron. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to review the bills and claims, we need a motion and a second to approve the bills and claims as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Myron.
Second.
Second by Scott. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to review the cash transfer, it's $1,384.65 from the road fund to the jail. We need a motion and a second to approve that, and again, this will be an ongoing thing. This is money that's coming in,
Yeah.
that's to the road fund. Y'all know what it's doing.
Yeah.
I think Scott made a motion.
Second.
Scott made the motion, Nate seconded. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Then, gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to review the September 30th, 2021 financial statement, we'd need a motion and a second to approve that statement, subject to audit, and approve the county treasurer and county judge to sign that financial statement.
So moved.
Motion by Marty.
Second.
Second by Myron. Any question or discussion? And that motion carries. All right, down to reports. Don't forget, I think it's this Saturday. I think it starts at 4 o'clock here on the downtown square, the Boo Fest. So I think there's trick-or-treating stuff, maybe pumpkin carvings and petting zoos, and you can wear your outfits. What are y'all dressing up as?
Old fat man's what I usually do.
I know I'm bringing straw up.
You're bringing straw, okay.
Part of the second.
You're not necessarily dressing up as a scarecrow, but you're bringing straw.
Probably not. I'll probably be on the combine Saturday.
Okay.
All right. So that should be, it should be a fun evening. I told Myron before the meeting, but I'll just let you guys know, just so you're kind of up to date on what's happening health department wise as we talk about what those retirement rates are doing. The anticipated difference in retirement rates at the health department this year over last year is a little over $800,000. The anticipated increase, the difference, and then it'll probably increase even more into the following year. So we had a finance meeting and a regular board meeting last night, and I just wanted to bring that to your attention just so that you're aware. That's a pretty sizable increase, isn't it, Counselor?
More than somewhat.
Yeah, yeah. But at any rate, that's pretty much the end of my reports. Myron, you have anything?
No report.
Scott?
No, sir.
Nate?
No report.
Marty?
Yeah, we got an email that you sent out. I'm just letting the public know about, our parks director.
Yeah.
Has, talked about, or is gonna retire, I think in January, is that correct?
January 30th, I believe it was.
Right. And I think Terry has done a good job at the park and all, but being there's a change that's going to take effect out there, I think now would be a good time for us to look at making that a department head of fiscal court instead of an employee of the Parks Board. Something we can talk about, but I just wanted to throw that idea out to everybody that, we've had the Parks Board chairman come up and they've talked about not having enough money to pay their employees and then money for capital improvements. And, he even mentioned the last time about maybe making that a taxing district. And I think it would just be a lot simpler to have that Parks Board or have the Parks Director under fiscal court rather than to have him under the Parks Board. So that's my thought. We can talk about it. We got till January, but maybe we need to let if you all are interested in even discussing it any further, I don't know if you are or aren't, but if you are, then we probably need to get word to the Parks Board and not to be hiring a director right now to give us just maybe a month or so to talk about it. And because, I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't know what you guys think.
Well, I think it's definitely worth having the discussion.
Okay.
We probably need to have some discussion with the city of Franklin
Correct.
on that as well concerning funding. And then, of course, there probably would be a process of, I don't want to use the word disbanding, but if it goes under different management, I'm sure there's quite a few avenues we've got to go through to get that
That's
started.
really,
So
yeah, it will be, and, we will still need some kind of board to take care of the, sports leagues that are out there, the baseball and soccer and all the activities that are going out there, but they'll be under director, to help organize those events somehow or another. I don't know
Nate,
exactly how it needs to be organized.
Currently, there are boards for the, like, girls softball, Little League, Babe Ruth. There are boards that are independent of just the Parks Board, correct?
Right, yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, like, I think all of the, like, the baseball, it's a soccer league, have its own board, like a soccer
Yeah.
board.
Yeah.
I was thinking all of those little sport leagues had their own independent boards.
Well, like I say, I've said it before, I think that's one of our most underutilized assets in the county is the park. There's a lot of people that use it, and a lot of people want more out there. So,
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think it's worth having the discussion.
if maybe we can talk, I don't know, when's our next joint city-county meeting?
It wouldn't be till
Next.
March.
Next
I mean,
year.
We'd have to have a special call,
Right,
but I mean, that's,
Well, maybe you can talk to Kent and see
Yeah.
if the city's interested, and we can talk about it some more, so.
All right.
That's all I have.
all right, Counselor?
Tax bills came out this month.
You
and
did?
Yeah,
Didn't notice.
yeah. And I suggest you might want to check on that. Not getting your bill is not an excuse not to pay. Well, I get that every year, so point being is if you pay by the end of the month at the sheriff's office, you get a 2% discount. And so I would figure most folks are probably like me and rather not pay any more tax than they have to. So if at all possible, please get your taxes paid by the end of the month at the sheriff's office. I'm sure they'll gladly take your payment, and so you can try to save as much money as you can.
And you can get a free ink pen.
A free ink pen.
Yeah.
Nice.
Only if you pay early.
I know, that's what I say, if you pay early, you get a free ink.
Getting to that point, Sheriff, you'd be next on deck. Do you have any reports?
Sam stole my thunder, but I appreciate it.
My apologies, Sheriff.
No problem. Pay your taxes, save you 2%.
All right. Brent, anything from the jail?
Just our numbers, 236 state, 62 counties, but both of them continue to hold high.
Good deal. All right. Chief, anything with the fire department? I take that as a yes.
Sir, just a public service.
Okay.
We have entered the fall forest fire hazard season that actually started on October the 1st, just for the benefit of the public. What that says is it is illegal to burn, excuse me, it's illegal to burn within 150 feet of a woodland or a brushland area. That's how it is worded, between the hours of 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. And that's, again, that will expire on December 15th, and then the spring will kick in on February the 15th. So I know a lot of farmers and folks have dozer piles and whatnot. They're kind of waiting to get their crops gone and all that. But any questions, you can call the fire department.
All right.
They got a training, you got a training this Saturday, is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, so we've been working for quite some time to try to put together a class. It's going to happen this week. It's on a grain rescue class that we're doing there's actually we're doing a community aspect of it that we're working with the state on this one. Dale Dobson from I don't know, he's from the Department of Ag at the state. Nelson's kind of coordinating all this for me. So Dale comes in, he's the guy that goes to the state fair, and you see him with the tractor rollover and all that. He does all these things. So they're kind of heading it up. We're hosting it basically. They're doing an event Friday night at the schools. That's where we changed it to. So we're going to be at the school doing there's like a video, all that aspect for farmers to come bring their families. And it's kind of like an educational thing for them on some things that maybe they shouldn't be doing. A lot of times people get into these things and certainly with well intentions try to help, they make the situation worse. And we're trying to avoid some of that. And then like Saturday, we'll actually be doing the hands-on part where we will actually go in and perform the rescue and whatnot.
Did you say Friday, has it been changed?
It's Friday night,
October 22nd?
October 22nd at 5 o'clock, or it starts at 5:30 for the food. If you're coming, the farmers should have got a
That's fine.
announcement from Google.
Yeah, right.
That, so you could reserve how many's coming so they know about the food. And then the actual presentation will start at 6, run probably 6 to 9. And that's the community part of it for the farmers and firefighters and such. So.
Yeah, so again, we're working with Dale and Ag. So they've gotten the FFA involved, working with Sam Evans, and they're, I don't know what level of participation, but I think Farm Bureau is providing some funding for the meal, and I guess the kids are going to help all that. Marty's bringing us a trailer to use as a prop. We appreciate that.
So when you say, Chief, you say you're going to do the rescue Saturday, describe kind of, I mean, are we talking about, what are you doing?
It's just a training. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take a hopper bottom grain trailer that you see right now, running down the roads, full of corn, not overweight, I'm sure. But these will all be, we're bringing one in. We're going to fill it about 3/4 of the way full so that we can actually have a little room to work. The idea is somebody, we're using the trailer, but it's really geared more towards silos and stuff where folks, get in there and, try to do something that they probably shouldn't have done. They get in there to check them or whatever, and they fall in, those kinds of things. So we're actually going in, and they make these tubes basically that you can encase the person, and then you either use a vacuum or you scoop out the grain around them and all that, and perform the rescue that way. So it's just a training, to benefit us.
Okay.
That part's not necessarily open to the public. It's just
Okay.
it is for our benefit. Friday night's really the more of the prevention aspect of it.
Okay.
That is.
I just want to bring it up because to let people know that the fire department is being trained. I never understood why somebody gets in, I don't even get in the bins unless I know they're empty or whatever, but there's some people that do that. And if that is a tragedy, if it were to happen, then they're getting qualified to
It
to
is.
help
I mean,
the rescue people.
the sense, and again, I mean, thankfully not been in that situation, but I mean, you see somebody in peril, your natural inclination is to go in and try to help them. Grain kind of acts like quicksand. The more you move, the worse you're making things. And again, oftentimes, not just this situation, but other things, flood waters and whatever, you go in with good intentions trying to help, and you become a victim yourself.
Yeah.
Those are the kinds of things that we're working. And
Good deal.
all right. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Carter, anything planning and zoning?
In the spirit of communication, when I do a minor subplat and I do the review on it, especially in the county, I'm going to start forwarding a copy of this before we put it on the map to each one of you in your respective areas. 2 of them I've already sent. I email these usually. If there's another means of communication you prefer, just send me an email or something like that. I'll redirect that. But I think it's important that we pay attention to how many lots we're doing on some of these county roads. Over 3 is a subdivision by law on a community this size. When I do a minor and cut 2 subordinates and a remainder, that's 3. We do it 800 feet down the road again for another, we got a subdivision on that road. So I'm gonna need your help. You guys are on the road a lot in your respective areas, and we need to take a close look at this. Those that represent portions of the West, our comp plan designates that area as protected. So we gotta be careful with that. On another notion, as a public citizen, a couple of weeks ago, maybe in the last meeting, we had the voting machines up here. And there was a discussion about the voting machines, and there was a mention of a grant. I urge each one of you to find out the source of this grant, if you don't know, before we make a judgment call on what we do with voting machines. Okay? Thank you. By the way, Sam, I need to see you after the meeting.
Carter, I have a question. I know, of course, we discussed the moratorium pending a vote of the city. My understanding is the city tabled it and didn't take any action whatsoever.
That is correct.
And you were pulling together some information as quickly as you can. Is that?
That was accomplished Friday, and I sent it over to them, just based on my assessment. I do know that in that meeting, when they agreed to table it, they did offer some help on professional services. I have suggested that maybe the next level we take it to. As I had told you, Judge, the smart way to do this, to try to help this along, would be to allocate land use space-wise. I did that very thing. I attacked 3 of the B zones that had the most activity. The other 2 were, one was limited with residential because it's restricted with 2 governing bodies, 3 if you really get down to it. The 5th one didn't allow any residential at all. So we only have 5, so 3 of them are the ones that I focused on last week. I finally got that done Friday evening, sent it to the city manager. We have yet to talk.
Can you forward me that information?
I will.
Okay.
Basically, all I did was break it down and suggest that we take apartments and restrict it to the R4 zone requirement for apartments, strictly to that. And then basically I took the B2 and broke it down to what was in our B2s. And I also added a formulation in there with our GIS to find out just how much land mass we had in Simpson County that was B2 and how much land mass was actually B4 and a B3 and a B5 and a B1, just for information purposes. You'd be astounded to find out that we have over 500 acres worth of B2 land. How much of that is undeveloped at this time is yet to be seen. GIS is working on some numbers to find out. In a B5, 1,700 acres in a B5. And it's fair to say that the B5 is, the majority of that, over 50% of that, I'm almost certain is going to be undeveloped. That's quite a bit of area. So I think once I send it to you and you look at what I sent over to the city, I think you'll agree that there's a lot of opportunity right there if we do it right and do it smart. I think it can be developed. I think you can look at those areas in a mixed-use development, because I read an awful lot about it and learned a lot last week. That if you look at a business zone and think of mixed use, the struggle that we've had in the last 10, 15 years of recruiting businesses, I think with this plan will become a magnet for business to come to Franklin, which helps us all out. But that's just me. Okay?
So on the grant, it's the State Board of Elections that does the grant for those machines.
Money don't grow on trees and it don't fall out of the sky.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
So we need to find out where that's coming from. Thank you.
Thanks, Corey.
Thank you.
Bill, you have anything? Bobby, you have anything to the road department?
Just the information to update you, we started, actually a week ago, we did some work on Hatter, but we're working pretty heavy on that road this week, so there's a lot of traffic, a lot of our equipment stuff on that road. And possibly, right now, we're planning on November 1st to close down Howard Brewer Road to do that tile replacement. So it'll be closed for about a week. That's all, that's dependent on some equipment we have to have coming in, but that's the plans, November 1st.
Now, one quick question. The bridge on Macedonia Road, is that still, do they still plan to take care of that before they quit paving this fall?
I got a text from him this morning, and they keep pushing us back on the paving. And I was going to call him today I'd rather call instead of text, but what my response to him is going to be is we absolutely want that road done this fall.
Yeah.
But if they push us off too late to where the temperature changes, we'll cut them off on the rest of the roads. Because we're not going to do, if it gets below 45, we don't need the surface on. That brings up another question we may want to discuss about coming the next bidding cycle comes around. I have no problem. I know why they do what they do, because we're local and they work us in when they can at times. But in the past year, there's been a lot of one road this week, and then we're gone for 2 weeks, and a road back, and then a road, and then we're gone for a month. And I'm not used to that, and it gets done, but I understand why they do it, because we're easy to work around. But the fact is, if we're going to do it, they need to do it.
Well, the approach on Macedonia Road, they have acknowledged needs to be
Yes,
corrected.
I have that actually in writing. They're going to do that at their cost.
And I still have several people call and say, hey, what are y'all going to do about
Yeah.
this? And I have told every one of these people that's called that the paver has acknowledged there is an issue and they plan to have it corrected before they end paving this season.
Yeah.
So
So if they don't do it this season, then people are gonna be calling you, why did you tell me wrong?
yeah. So if I need to jump in, but we need to hold their feet to the fire on this.
That's why I'm saying I'm going to call him after a while and say that we definitely want that done, and I'm going to bring up the issue about now we've had paving done into December, even when Scotty's did it, we did that.
Yeah.
But I don't like to do it, but sometimes you just have to do what, there's still a limit though when you can do it. And if they do it in November, it'll be fine as far as the temperature, I'm sure, unless it turns off extremely cold. But I'm going to tell them we definitely want that done, but I want to know too, we may cut them off. And I'm not going to get into this, because this year we ran into it, they wanted to start early. In the spring, I held them off because the temperature wasn't right. Well, then we had to push them to get it done in our budget year. So
And
a little frustration with it.
of course, I wouldn't be telling these people that are calling that it's going to get done before they quit paving this year, had they not acknowledged that.
I'm telling them the same thing.
And you've got it in writing.
Oh, yeah.
What they're doing, so.
I'm telling them the same thing, because I get those calls too.
Yeah, yeah.
On County Loop Road, before you get to Stringer Road, there's a couple of trees there that are between the fence and the road. They're almost touching the road. Do we need to look about,
County Loop between,
you know, when you come off 622 right before you get down to Stringer?
oh yeah, right there in the turf.
Yeah.
They're
They're big trees.
75 years old, yeah, big trees.
But they're touching the road and they're actually between the guy's fence and the road. Do we need to look about?
We can cut it, we cut them all the time, it's just usually
I thought I might go talk to him and ask him if he would, because they make good logs, but I think it's kind of dangerous to have them in the road like that. in the right of
issue
way.
too, it's not really, I mean, we can cut them if they're on the right of way anyway, and we try to. Actually, there's a statute that if there's a tree within 50 foot of the roadway, we can ask the property owner to cut it, or we can cut it and still be legal for us to be on their property, safety issue. But those issues, yeah, I mean, we cut those periodically, and there really need to be more of that done. We just don't get it worked in.
Well, I just thought I might stop by and just talk to him and say, you know, it's just it's a hazard for him to be that close to the road.
Yeah.
And,
We've run into that on Hatter Road. We had some trees we have to take out, which nobody minds, but the problem we've run into now is utilities are right in the middle of them, so we're going to have to grind them and do what we can with them, but we're still not taking them down.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, that's no problem. I don't mind at all. I'd really cut them. We cut a lot of trees that are off the right of way a little bit, but if they need to come down, I'd rather cut them this afternoon than 2 o'clock in the morning in the middle of a
Absolutely.
storm or so.
Absolutely.
All right, one thing I did overlook, and it was in the claims, and I guess you guys seen it, the 8111 balance going to the general fund out of the Fritz Winter grant. It was where we had to use money to open up that account, and you know, Fritz Winter then decided they're not going to do that rail spur, so there was some checks on that account that had come, so the balance that was left was 8111. And I think Nicole also found out that if they decide to do this grant or any other type of grant like that again, we won't necessarily have to have a separate account because we now have that federal grant account open that all of this can flow through.
So it's got $81.11 on it.
Well, but that's going back to the general fund now.
It was startup money,
It
to start,
ju-
get that account started.
Yeah.
But now that we don't need it, we can close it out and we'll transfer that balance of that account back to the general fund.
Okay. So the account will be closed, but we'll still have an account. It should ever do it again.
Well, federal grants account, but that's the money that, if we keep that account, that's the account that any federal grants can flow through that account. So.
And that's what CDBG grants are, federal.
Okay.
All right, did I overlook any departments? All right, gentlemen, I need to, excuse me here, Counselor. Right. Because I don't have this stuff committed to memory, so I've got to do this, but I need to get a executive session according to KRS 61.810, paragraph C, discussions of proposed or pending litigation against or on behalf of the public agency, and paragraph F, discussions or hearings which might lead to the appointment, discipline, or dismissal of an individual or an employee.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Marty, second by Nate. All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? We'll take about a 3 to 5 minute break and convene over in the executive session room.